Hello everyone, welcome to the IELTS multi-step program. My name is Lanre and I'll be your anchor for today. As is our usual here, we go through a lot of messages, a lot of feedback that we get from the subscribers to our YouTube channel and even the candidates that we have in our prep class center. And from the feedback that we've gathered, we've discovered some key challenges that test takers have with the IELTS, and we're going to be responding to them in a series of videos that we'll be releasing on our YouTube channel. The first of these videos is one that we're going to be shooting today, and it's going to deal with using examples in the IELTS writing task 2. I'll repeat the topic again, using examples in the IELTS writing task 2. Now, the task 2 of the IELTS writing section is the same for both the academic model and the general training model. In the task 2 of the IELTS writing section, you are expected to write an essay of not less than 250 words. Your essay is going to be an opinion-based essay where your opinions are going to be conveyed as effectively and as efficiently as you can. One of the main things that you will do in an opinion essay is to use examples to buttress your points or to support your reasons or to illustrate the points that you're trying to make. And this has turned out to be a major challenge for a lot of test takers. And the reason for this isn't far-fetched. If you go online, you would find a deluge of information telling you about the different ways that you can use examples in the IELTS. While some people will tell you that it's important to use statistics, some people will tell you that you do not need to put any statistics at all. Some people will also go as far as to tell you not to formulate or to use fake research data in your essays. Some people will also go ahead, and some tutors will also go ahead and tell you that under no circumstance should you use personal pronouns when giving examples or illustrating your points. All this conflicting information has turned out to be a challenge for a lot of test takers, and this is why we get a lot of requests on our WhatsApp group, on our YouTube channel, in the comment section, and even in class from candidates asking us, what is the right thing to do? How should I use examples in the IELTS writing task 2? The first thing that you need to know today is we're going to be talking about using fake research data. What do I mean by fake research data? In the IELTS, most times when you make a claim, you express a view, or you share an opinion, you are expected to back that up with a reason. And the logical thing to do after backing it up with a reason is to give an example to illustrate or to show what you've just said, or to buttress what you've just said. Now, your example can either be drawn from your own personal experience or from your knowledge as indicated in the questions in the IELTS. In drawing from examples based on your knowledge, people come up with data. Data involving statistics like numbers, percentages, names of organizations, names of bodies, names of institutions that have carried out this data. Now, does this data need to be true or can it be fictional? That is the question. That is the crux of the matter today. I can categorically tell you that the IELTS examiner is not interested in the truth or lie of your research data. What they are concerned about is the validity of that data that you have included in your essay. Is the example that you have given, is that data that you have quoted, is it relevant? Is it valid in the context of what you're describing or what you're talking about? If yes, go ahead. If no, do not use it. What do I mean by research data? For example, I'm writing an essay on transportation, and the question is about if the government should invest in railways or acquiring fast trains to build an extensive rail network, or should fix the existing road network. And I am of the opinion that the existing road network is better, that is a much more preferable alternative than investing in railways. And my reason for this is that the existing road network already has commercial activities tied to it, and improving it will only increase the income or revenue that the government will generate from the transportation sector, as opposed to starting all over again with the rail sector. That is my opinion. Now, and the reason is because it can generate more revenue. Now, my example, I would go ahead and say, to illustrate this, a recent survey carried out by the National Union of Road Transport Workers in Nigeria in 2005 showed that the transportation sector accounts for over $20 billion annually to the Nigerian government. An improvement of the existing road network would see this amount shoot up to over 100 million or 100 billion per year, and this is a significant improvement in the revenue generation model for the government. This simply shows that fixing the existing road network has more benefits than starting all over again with a new rail network. But have I done them? Now, does that data, does it exist anywhere? No, it doesn't. Is it true? I'm probably sure it's not. But is it valid? Is it relevant to the context of what I'm discussing? Very, very relevant. The National Union of Road Transport Workers is a body that can be quoted when discussing about transportation matters. What would make that example irrelevant or would make it quite problematic is if I quoted the National Medical Association in a topic that has to do with transportation. That's the first thing that you need to know. Now, is there any rule or is there any caveat against this? Yes, there is. If you're going to be using fake research data, please, as much as possible, do not overdo it. There's something called too much of a good thing. You do not want to write an essay where you have research data that is untrue come up like 4 or 5 times in your essay. That doesn't make any sense. Once, at most, twice. For me, I would say just once, because the instruction in your writing task or the writing prompt says that give reasons for your answer, with relevant examples from your knowledge or experience. So if I do a 4-paragraph essay that has an introduction, 2 body paragraphs, and a conclusion, I would do 1 paragraph for research data, which would fit in for examples drawn from my knowledge, and another example from my memory, which will fit in for examples drawn from my personal experience. And I think that solves that. The next thing that you need to do is to know, so how can I generate this research data? The common places or the easiest ways to generate research data is to ascribe it to the following list of places or list of sources that I would read out. Sorry, I will be consulting my tab a lot here because I've jotted a lot of notes to make this video for you, because I want you to get the specific details and strategies that you can use to convey your examples, to illustrate your points, to buttress your points in the most convincing manner without falling short of all the standards that the IELTS requires. The easy ones are using a university study or research. Universities are known as citadels of knowledge where research is constantly carried out. So studies are carried out, research programs are carried out. In generating your research data, you could ascribe it to a university. That would be nice. Another place that you can ascribe it to, or another medium that you can ascribe your data to, would be a poll. That's P-O-L-L, a poll or a census. Now, an opinion poll could be drawn, an opinion poll could be undertaken regarding the particular thing that you are describing. So, for example, should people get married before the age of 13? You could say, according to an opinion poll carried out by the Society for Family Health, among 100 young people between the age of 25 to 35 in Nigeria. At the end of the poll, it was discovered that 80% of them were of the opinion that getting married before 30 years of age has benefits for reproduction and childbearing. This is a very good way to use an opinion poll as a source of research data. Another avenue that you can use for your research data, to ascribe your research data to, would be a government agency or a non-governmental body. A government agency or a non-government or a pressure group could be like the NURTW that I mentioned earlier, the NMA, the Nigerian Medical Association, or it could be any of all those bodies that have professional affiliations but have a nationwide reach. Finally, you can also ascribe your data to a survey carried out by anybody at all, any organization, that as long as that organization has a validity with the concept or the idea that you are trying to push forward. All of these avenues are easy ways to generate research data, and I would advise you to practice by writing a paragraph that has to do with, you generating data to illustrate a particular point, and using all of these all of these tips and all of these avenues that I've given you, and trying to try your hands on it to see how well, which one flows for you, so that on the day of the exam, you would have settled on either one or two that you will be able to use for your essay. Now, the next part of this video will deal with how do we actually introduce examples or illustration in our essay. This has to do with our cohesion. Cohesion refers to how well linked are your essays, the words, the sentences, the paragraphs. How do you connect them? What is the relationship between them? What kind of expressions or words do you use to show the relationships between words, between ideas, between paragraphs, between sentences? Showing the relationship between an example and a point or a reason that you have given is very, very essential. You don't just jump into examples. You actually have to link it. There has to be a sort of cohesion between the example that you're giving and the point that you're making. The most common expressions that you can use have been listed here, and I'll just run through them so that for those of us who have a problem with them can either jot it down by pausing this video, or you could go online and research for more variants of how to introduce your examples or illustrations. Words like, or expressions like, for example, comma, for instance, to illustrate, as an illustration, to give a clear example, take, for example, such as. All of these expressions are not the only, they are inexhaustible. There are a lot of expressions that you can use to introduce your illustrations or your examples, but these ones are the most common ones, and I think they work. And according to, and in the words of a wise man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if these work, I don't think you should go ahead looking for much more ambitious ways of expressing your examples, which might lead you into trouble. The next item in this video that we'll be looking at is the use of personal pronouns in giving examples or giving illustration in our essays. What are personal pronouns? Personal pronouns are words like I, me, we, us. These are pronouns that specifically refer to yourself as an entity. Now, is there any room for using personal pronouns in your essay in the IELTS? Yes and no. And why this ambivalent answer? I'll explain. Ideally, in an academic essay, which is what the IELTS actually is, in an academic essay, there is usually little or no room for using personal pronouns because they make your essay sound more, how would I say, they sound very simplistic. But for the purpose of the IELTS, since it has been expressly stated in the question, and where is it expressly stated? It's stated that, it says in the IELTS, it says, give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge and experience, which means that the IELTS right from the get-go allows you to use examples from your own personal experiences. Now, how do I narrate an example? How do I narrate an incident that happened to me personally that is called from my memory without using personal pronouns? It is unavoidable, right? But what you should try to do is try not to make it too much in your essay, because once you start doing that, your essay starts lacking credibility. It sounds less believable if all your points, all your examples, all your illustrations are things drawn from your own personal experience only. There's a way to present those examples from a general perspective. So instead of saying that, for example, I remember when I was in primary 6, you could say, for example, many people in Nigeria remember an incident when they were in primary school that so happened. What have you done there? You have generalized the scope of that experience. You have made it a much more wider experience that a lot of people share. And this makes your essay, this makes your example, this makes your point more believable than if you just go ahead and just come from your own perspective and from your own experiences alone. Now, for the use of personal pronouns, what is the rule and what are the things that you should not do? Do not overdo it. That's the first rule. For every good thing in the IELTS, ensure that you do not overdo it. If you overdo it, it starts becoming monotonous and it might even affect the quality of your expression. The next thing you should know is that when referring to, we tend to use it when referring to what the general population do, including yourself. So what would a general population do? What would a wide range of people do? when faced with a particular concept, a particular idea, a particular issue. And that includes you also too. Those ways you can use personal examples. You can use personal pronouns. Personal pronouns are most compulsory in the IELTS when you are writing your thesis statements. And this would probably feature more in your introduction and your conclusion. What's a thesis statement? Your thesis statement is a statement that expresses your stand and is usually accompanied by your reason. For example, I would say, personally, I believe that children should be homeschooled as this allows them to learn at their own pace and also avoid distractions. That's a thesis statement. I have given my stand, which is I'm choosing homeschooling, and I have given the reasons why I believe homeschooling is the best. You would see that there's no way I could have expressed that thesis without resorting to using a personal pronoun, because it is personally what I believe, what I hold to be true in the context of that essay. Your thesis statement, as has been stated in previous videos, would come up in your introduction and also in your conclusion. Now, you're not going to write your topic sentence in the body paragraph of the essay and use a personal pronoun. What do I mean by that? So let's say, for example, now I have given my thesis statement as saying that personally, I believe that homeschooling is the best option for learners as it not only allows them to learn at their own pace, but also allows them to avoid distraction. So these are my 2 points that I'm going to use in that essay. Learning at your own pace and avoiding distraction. These are the 2 reasons why I've chosen homeschooling as opposed to traditional schooling. My first paragraph, topic sentence would be, to begin with, the most important reason why, or the most important benefit of homeschooling is the ability to learn at one's pace. Full stop. I wouldn't say that to begin with, I believe that homeschooling allows you to learn at your own pace. No. That would be me dumbing down the quality of my essay by using too many personal pronouns, especially where they are not needed. Please, as much as possible, review this video, watch it over and over again, pause at several intervals when you need to get a particular topic or a particular idea, a particular point well, and try as much as possible to use this in a practical application. And how would you do that? By writing essays. I believe that before you write your IELTS test, you should have written at least not less than 4 to 5 practice essays or sample essays that will be reviewed by a trained examiner or by a tutor who is qualified and competent. That way, you would have a clear idea of your strengths, of your mannerisms, of the mistakes that you make, and how you can avoid them and improve the quality of your writing. Like I mentioned earlier, using examples is a challenging area for a lot of test takers, especially non-native speakers of the language, and you would do well to please review all the material that you can get on it, most especially this video, so that you would not be found wanting after writing a very beautiful essay, and your examples will be the points that will be the places where you would have a lot of flops and that would probably drop your scores. Till I come your way again next time, I remain Lanre, your anchor for the IELTS multi-step program. And in the light and in the spirit of what we've been doing now, we will be taking your comments, your reactions, and your feedback about the IELTS test. And we'll be making videos that specifically deal with all those problem areas, all those challenging areas that you have in the test, as it cuts across speaking, reading, listening, and writing. So what can you do? Subscribe to our channel. Go to the comment section, drop a comment, drop a review, drop an opinion about the areas that you find challenging, or join our WhatsApp group or Telegram group, or even reach out to us across any of our social media platforms, and we will be delighted to hear from you. Till I come your way next again, I wish you all the best and all the success that you can get in the IELTS test. And remember, the IELTS is not a test of intelligence, it is a test of communication.